Hello, class, and welcome to week 9 of VF804. We are quickly approaching the end of the quarter now, and like I've been sharing earlier, I feel like many of us, like myself, are probably losing a little steam, feeling a little bit worn out from the quarter. And as I mentioned earlier, I decided to give us week 10 off. So after this week, that will be effectively the end of the this class outside of our final paper. So for week 10, the week after next week, this coming week, there'll be no readings, no discussion posts, no introduction video to view. And for this week, in week 9, we will be transitioning from the topic of ministry stress. And it sounds like most of us were not surprised at all by that finding that the number one source of ministry stress is, in fact, a relational conflict with other people in the ministry, with other Christian leaders. And we'll be transitioning from this topic of ministry stress to a related topic of burnout. And I'm guessing that many of you, most of you even, are likely familiar with some of the literature on clergy burnout. And even if this is the case, I suspect that our primary reading for this week, it's a literature review, a systematic literature review done by Kristen Heininger and other friends from Boston University's Danielson Institute. I suspect that this primary reading might still uncover some new insight. It's a literature review, a literature synthesis of some of the latest empirical research on clergy burnout, 82 studies in all. And I believe they do a really excellent job summarizing what the research has identified as risk factors for burnout, protective factors that help us become more resilient to things like burnout, as well as well-being enhancers. And concerning resilience, I'm also going to invite you to read a seminal article on trauma, grief and loss, and human resilience, written by George Bonanno of Columbia University. It was published in the American Psychologist a number of years ago. And that's the flagship journal of the American Psychological Association. And it really, at the time, shifted a lot of the conversations in the trauma literature to consider how our trajectories, our recovery trajectories post-trauma can be quite different and distinct. And there are different kinds of recovery trajectories, different resilience trajectories, as well as chronic PTSD trajectories and others. And Dr. Bonanno also gave a more recent podcast interview in which he talks about these topics, and he does refer to artifacts from that article as well. And I hope that you'll find his podcast on resilience helpful and insightful as well. So accordingly, this week's discussion questions, which will be the final discussion questions of our quarter, will attempt to land several conversations that we raised earlier on this quarter. Questions raised on topics such as grief, trauma, stress, burnout, a lot of other things that we've talked about. And I'm hoping for us to perhaps integrate and synthesize some of those reflections that we've made over the course of this quarter and see what they bring to bear on potential pathways towards resilience that we can begin cultivating even now. So, accordingly, for our discussion posts, you're invited to respond to one or more of the following questions. Within your past or current ministry or work contexts, what protective factors were present? These are protective factors identified by the Heidegger et al. Literature review. What protective factors were present and active in protecting perhaps yourself or the other people who worked and served in your context from things like burnout? Within your past or current ministry or work context, what risk factors were present and active in contributing to burnout vulnerability among yourself or the people that you've worked with? And then finally, from your own experiences and from what you've observed, and from others who have persevered in their own vocation over time, what have you learned about resilience within the ministry or work context? And how might you cultivate resilience even as you continue pursuing your own vocational calling while you're in the midst of graduate school? Looking forward to reading and reflecting on your comments. And thank you again for a great quarter thus far, and looking forward to landing it well with you all. Take good care. Bye bye.